Hi everybody, welcome back to Young and Wifed Up. This is Marcella.
And I'm Gabby.
And thanks for joining us for another episode.
If you would like to support us on Patreon, you can head to patreon.com/youngandwifedup. We have bonus episodes. You get early access to all of our main episodes. We have video chats, exclusive merch, recommendation links, and there's going to be a ton of links. There's going to be a link for everything that we talk about today. So if you want to get those links and you don't want to have to go and search Google for every little thing that we say or keep notes, head to our Patreon, become a supporter, and you'll get access to all of that and so much more.
Also, if you are more of a visual person, we do have a YouTube channel if you prefer to watch and listen rather than just listen on whatever podcast platform that you prefer. I think a lot of people don't know we have a YouTube channel. So if that is your jam, go to our YouTube channel. Obviously, it's just the name of our podcast. Subscribe over there, comment, like our videos, share them. And we would love to see more of you guys over on that platform.
Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about our winter favorites. So for the past couple months that Marcella was on maternity leave, I was doing my monthly favorites on Patreon as a blog post. So if you want to know everything that I've been loving from August to December, then head to our Patreon to check all of those blog posts out. But now we are bringing our favorites back to the podcast, and we're going to be talking about everything that we've been loving this winter, everything we've been watching, listening to, cooking, enjoying, sipping on. I'm excited. Let's get into it, starting with book. So I read a couple really good books this past winter season, but I'd say that my favorite one was The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, and it is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy, and I am absolutely devouring this trilogy now. I had kind of a slow start. I had a slow start because I was like competing with Dracula at the same time, so I was kind of splitting my attention, but now all of my fiction attention has been given to the Cosmere.
Yeah.
So Marcella has also read The Well of Ascension, and
it is so good.
It is amazing. The last part of the book was the best part of it for me.
Yes.
It is a fantasy series, and it is so good. Please look up trigger warnings. It's violent. There's some other things, but it's a fairly clean series. And if you want a good fantasy without all of the porn, Brandon Sanderson is a good place to start. And both Marcel and I are in the middle of his third book in the trilogy called Hero of Ages. And I'm also devouring that right now. So it'll be a competition to see who finishes first. I have my money on you because I just get so distracted by books. So we'll see. What was your favorite thing to read this season?
So I finally finished up the Wingfeather Saga by Andrew Peterson. And I had started this series quite a while ago, but I started the first two books. I read the physical copies from my library, and then we ended up moving, and I took a really long break from it, and I tried reading the third book from our now current library, and I just could not. I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish it before we had Liam, and so I ended up taking it back. I didn't end up finishing the physical copy, but in the Lord's providence, the audiobooks became available on Libby, which they weren't for, up until now, they haven't been. I know that they are on Audible, but I didn't have an Audible subscription at that point, so I had no access to them. So then I ended up being able to finish there's 4 books total. I was able to finish the 3rd and 4th book with the audiobook, which I much prefer now that I've listen to them. The author narrates them, and he does a really good job with it, and it's just very enjoyable to listen to. And the story itself, it's very wholesome, like good standing morals, like it's just like overall a really great story. Characters are really good, and I think it's meant for like middle school, junior high age, but it's just like an easy listening, like just wholesome story and adventure. And it's just like, I can't wait until my boys are older and I read it to them, because there are just so many, it's so good. And I highly recommend reading it. If you like fiction, it is fantasy. And if you want something that's not quite as intense as like a Brandon Sanderson situation, it is much easier to keep up with than like that sort of side of fiction. So yeah, really, really, really good.
Cool. I also enjoyed the first book in the Wing Feather saga, and then I ended up buying the rest of them because I was just like, I know that we're gonna need these.
I am waiting for you to keep reading those.
Okay. After I finished Mistborn trilogy, I'll take a break from the Cosmere and head over to Wing Feather Saga, finish that, and then I'll go back to Brandon Sanderson.
Yes.
I'm all over the place. Okay, so what I've been listening to the most this winter season is the Ancestral Kitchen podcast. So I typically listen to the Wise Tradition podcast for all my Weston A. Price ancestral diet stuff, but I was kind of wanting something more conversational too. And so I stumbled upon the Ancestral Kitchen podcast, and I absolutely love it. Those women are so sweet and so like comforting to listen to. It's two friends that I've never met in person, and one lives in the UK and the other one lives in the States, and they Zoom with each other and they talk about what they've been eating and different elements of the ancestral diet. It's very inspiring and very attainable. They had a recent 2-part, I believe, episode talking about how to save money or to eat the ancestral diet kind of on a budget. And I feel like one of these days, you and I are going to have to buckle down and talk about how we've been eating and everything lately. But yeah, highly recommend the Ancestral Kitchen podcast. But before you listen to them, I'd say get all your education underway with the Wise Traditions podcast, which was one of your favorite podcasts this season. So why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so it does cover a lot of like Weston A. Price, I guess, nutritional principles and that sort of thing. Very helpful because it covers such a wide variety, just like such an array of topics when it comes to nutrition. They have a lot of experts in the field that come in and do interviews and that sort of thing, and it's just very educational and very helpful. Yeah, I've been listening to it for a while now, but it was just so happened to be one of my top ones. And then another one is The Simple Farmhouse Life, which is Farmhouse on Boone, Lisa Bass. And I really love her podcast, especially the episodes that she does where she talks about how she works her kitchen and like her pantry and like it's just like she's just very go with the flow. And that is like what I would like to aim to be at some point. I'm getting better at it. Obviously she has so many more years of experience than I do, but I just really like how she makes cooking from scratch so much more attainable. It doesn't have to be as structured in order for it to be good and delicious and healthy and nutritious, or what we would consider to be healthy and nutritious. It doesn't have to be complicated in order for it to like sustain your family and for what it needs to be and still be like a delight, to be working in the kitchen and feeding your family and all that stuff. So, and she also like covers other topics as well, other homemaking things. Like she like sometimes talks about gardening or like sewing, or like she's so talented in so many different areas of homemaking. But I think her main niche is the kitchen stuff. Like that is more so what she's known for. And I just like love her insight about how she runs her kitchen well. So
yes, fully agree. Love her podcast, love her blog, love her YouTube channel. She's just the queen of homemaking in my eyes. She's never steered me wrong. Okay, moving on to something that we watched. So I actually changed my answer literally like right now, because I was originally going to say Sense and Sensibility, because I rewatched. So I've seen that movie a bajillion times. Like I couldn't even tell you. I could probably like quote most of it. But Ryan finally agreed to watching some period dramas with me. So we started with Emma, and then we moved on to Sense and Sensibility, and then we moved on to Pride and Prejudice, and now we're watching Victoria on the PBS show. Yeah. And I'm just so thankful, because I've known this whole time, because period dramas are like, it's just so true to its time. It's so fascinating, even if you don't care for the romance aspect. Just like the aesthetics and the historical things about it, like, can be fascinating. And I knew that my husband would like it, but he's been fighting me our entire marriage, and he wouldn't watch it. But now he loves it, and I got him to admit that he loved it. So I think his favorite out of all of them, and mine, is like Sense and Sensibility. Has such a star cast with Kate Winslet and Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman and Hugh Grant, and just such a great cast. It's just incredible movie. And I think it was 1995, which is the year that I was born. It's a very old movie.
So old.
It's old. Stop it. Okay. Not that old. Okay. But
ancient.
But I'm changing my mind. Okay. I'm adding on to it. Marcella and Jed and Ryan and I, we try to make it as regular as possible, like a once a month situation movie night, where one of us picks a movie and we watch it on Amazon Prime, and you can do a watch party, which is a really cool feature. If you didn't know, you can watch a movie remotely with somebody else as long as they have a Amazon Prime subscription. We watched A Million Miles Away, which my grandparents recommended to me a few weeks ago. Like, we're always exchanging what we're watching together whenever we have a phone call. And they were telling me a ton of movies, and this was one of them that they told me. So I was watching a bunch of trailers, because it was my turn to pick a movie this time, and watch the trailer for this one. And I was like, oh, like, this looks fascinating. And we watched it, and I think all of us were in tears. It was incredible.
It was really good.
It was probably like one of the best movies that I've seen in a long time. It was so wholesome, so beautiful. And it's about Jose Hernandez, who was a migrant farm worker who ended up flying with NASA, and he was an astronaut. Amazing. So the movie's based off of a book, and it's just about him and his dream and his family, his wife, who made so much, just like, talk about like a virtuous woman. Yeah, like, I don't know how religious they are or anything, but she just so much strength, so much sacrifice, so much willing, like, talk about like furthering her husband's mission. Like, just wow. And you see the reality, like, and I'm sure he fleshes it out maybe more in the book, but like, you see the hardship, you see the hard things that she went through, like, as a wife, and the hard days she had where she's like, I never see you, their kids need their dad, you see all this sort of thing happening, which is just really real and authentic. But then you just see like her truly like, I just thought she was one of the best characters in this film that we watched, because she truly was so virtuous. And I just feel like, am I willing to do that if my husband has like this?
It's very convicting.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, this wasn't even a religious movie. And to me, I'm like, this was a Christian movie. It was deeply religious to me, because I'm seeing just like, what a beautiful picture of a family, especially like the circumstances, like coming from being Mexican immigrants and starting, and they keep like doing flashbacks. It's just such a beautiful movie of like where the family had come from working in the fields, to like, he was able to prosper his entire family, like not just him and his wife and his kids, but his entire family, by like really like having perseverance and endurance. And it's just, go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, A Million Miles Away. You'll cry, and I want to talk about it because it's awesome.
Okay, so for My watch favorite for this winter. I also changed mine like 3 times just the first one is Jed and I just watched Pilgrim's Progress for the first time. The one, the animated movie.
It's so good. It makes me cry.
I know, literally, Jed and I. Well, I was crying. I'm pretty sure Jed was crying. I don't know if he told me if he was crying or not. I think he got emotional at one point when Christian's burden is like taken off of his back and it like rolls into the grave. It's just so
the symbolism.
It was so good. And like we were saying, like, yeah, the graphics, oh yeah, horrible. Like the animation is just like it's it's bad quality. Yeah. Like very bad quality. But it's like you just like don't care like after a certain point because you're just so immersed and you're just like thinking back to like your own walk and like all these different things, and it just like makes you so grateful. Like, wow, the Lord chose to save me. And I can't believe that. Like that is just like I have so much to be grateful for, and it just like really it's just so good. And like also us from like just reading, like I finished the book. We just finished it in our like book club. And then having watched like the movie now, obviously it doesn't include, it's not as like fleshed out as it is like in the book. But still just wow, it was so good. It's the one from 2019. I think it came out in 2019. So it's not like, it's a few years old now. And then the other thing is I rediscovered on YouTube the world. I'm pretty sure it's called The World of Peter Rabbit, which we used to watch when we were so young. And it's essentially all of Beatrix Potter's stories. And the animation is done in like in the style of her illustrations. And it's like, so if you're looking for like a low stimulating show for your kids, this is a really good one.
It's The World of Peter Rabbit and Friends.
Yeah, The World of Peter Rabbit and Friends. And I just like, I was watching it with Seth and Eli, and it brought so many flashbacks. Because at one point I was like, I could have sworn that there was a show. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a show about Peter Rabbit. And I was like, I'm just going to see. And there's like a movie called Peter Rabbit. That's not it.
Very different. Yes.
It's super old animated series on YouTube, and it like starts with like a live action sequence of like Beatrix Potter, and like it's like I'm pretty sure it's like each episode it's like a live action scene of her getting like a letter from a child about like one of her stories or something, and then it like goes into like what the story is going to be in the animated side of it. It's just it's so good, and it's like really good.
Wow, I want to watch it now just for some nostalgia.
It's very comforting for me. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so a beauty / self-care product that we loved this winter. I have been whipping my own tallow. I've only done it twice, and I really do need to get like a formal recipe situation, but I had a ton of tallow that I bought at Sprouts, and I ran out. I have just been buying from like Etsy shops or like local shops. But I had some tallow and I ran out, and I was like, well, I can't get my hands on anything, and I'm desperate because I have eczema, especially right now. Like even right now, I'm really itchy right now. It's like the worst time of year for me where it's super dry and super cold. And I just always get an eczema flare, and it's usually just my hands and like my elbows and like the upper part of my arm. But I do goat's milk soap. That helps a lot. And then the whipped tallow has also been helping. So I just throw some tallow, straight tallow, into my KitchenAid, and I whip it until it's a nice fluffy texture. And then this batch, I added jojoba oil in it, and it's been great. And I love it. So super cheap moisturizer for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Loved whipped tallow. So I put the a shave bar. I finally graduated from shave gel to a shave bar. And I'm starting with the Kitsch shave bar on Amazon. It's KITSCH or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what the brand is. At first glance, it's a little bit pricey. I think it was like $12, $13 or something like that for the shave bar. But wow, it is so nice. Well worth it. It does not like a lot of soap bars for me, or even like quote unquote shave bars in the past have like really irritated my skin, like especially my underarms get really sensitive. And this one, like, it feels like a like skin conditioner, which is like really, really nice. And then even when you rinse it off, it still like has that smooth, like moisturized feel to it. It's not like that kind of like rubbery sort of feel that you sometimes get like after using bar soaps. Really lovely. I don't get irritated with it. Shaving is super easy. I use it like everywhere that I have to shave. Yeah, it's really nice. And obviously it's like way more sustainable. There's no like, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if it came in plastic packaging. I feel like it didn't. I think it came in like a cardboard situation.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really nice. I really like that brand. I'm probably going to try some other ones in the future, but so far that one has been a hit.
Wow.
For me.
I think I'm going to have to try it. Amazon? No, I haven't. I know I was trying to look, but then I like got out of it on accident. So yeah, I'm going to I'll find the link for you guys for the Patreon. Okay. So a child, toddler, infant product for this season. So I chose this teething toy that I gifted our friends, and then they ended up loving it so much that they ended up gifting it to our other friends, which is awesome. Nice. So it's a teething toy that you can put on their wrist, on their hand. It's like very interesting, and it's like silicone. It's kind of hard to explain. I'll put the link in the Patreon so you can see it. So it has like an anti-choking dimension, but if your baby does not have like the grabbing skill like fully, like where they can like hold on to something for a long time, and like you're trying to give them teething toys and it just like flies out and you're having to constantly get it, you can put this over their hand and over their wrist, and there's like a grip function. And so they can like play with it, and like every part of it is like there's like different textures on it and stuff. So it's a really cool teething toy. And it's safe, and it's called like a never drop. So like once you put it on their like hand, like they can't like throw it or drop it or anything.
Cool. I might have to get that.
Yeah, it's so cute, and like they come in different, colors and shapes and stuff like that. And I'll put the link, and it's from the HioMoon store, and it's a never drop silicone baby teether. So, yeah.
HioMoon teething toy. Oh, interesting.
So you see how it like it has like that interesting shape, so you can like put their wrist through it, and they can put their fingers over the top of it.
That's cool. Okay, moving on. Oh, sorry. I still need to do my kid, toddler, infant favorite pick. Okay, so we got these things for Eli's birthday called Plus Plus blocks. They're super cool. I'm pretty sure Gabby was playing with them more than the kids when they were
and then they would mess up my creations. Well, they would demand certain creations, and then I would make it for them, and then they would destroy them. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, this is miserable.
So it's kind of hard. Wow, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
It's very late.
It's almost 11:30 at night over here, and I still have to have my ice cream.
You have to. I have to have my ice cream.
Okay, plus plus blocks. It is really hard to explain the shape of these. It's like two plus signs put together, essentially.
Yep,
but it's
that's pretty much it.
It's a plus block, but it's 3-dimensional, and you can like put them together, like interlock them together to like make shapes and sculptures and like different things.
Robots.
They have like
Houses.
different sheets of like things, like ideas of like different plus block creations that you can do. They have a plus block, like the regular size. The ones that I got were the plus block
big. Plus big.
Plus big. Yes.
That's better if you have a bunch of littles that you don't
like
want them choking.
It's the open play set. So they're probably like, I don't know, maybe a few inches long, as opposed to like the regular size ones are like they're much smaller than that. So
yeah.
I think it's better for smaller hands to get the bigger pieces because they're just easier to handle and like less likely to get lost or to be choked on and things like that.
I also like as a Lego alternative, because there's not like a ton of like million different kinds of shapes and pieces, and you know what I mean?
One and there's different colors.
Yes, and there's tons of different colors. So Ryan and I, we loved them so much, we got the regular ones for his niece and nephew, and we got them the glow-in-the-dark ones, and then we got one that comes with like a carrying case and a mat. They have so many options. They're so cute, and they're very affordable, and they're so much fun. They're fun for adults. They're fun for kids. They're fun for everyone.
So we got the plus big open play set. It's like a 100-piece basic color set. It looks like on Amazon right now it's like $45 or something. Well worth the money. It like keeps both of the kids entertained for a very, very long time, and they just they both Seth and Eli love those. Okay, moving on.
So I realized that both of us basically have the same meal.
Oh, I just
for our favorite meal.
The same thing.
So yours is pot roast, but mine is beef stew, which is essentially the same meal, just a different cut. It's a different cut. So in my I get my meat delivered in bulk. If you want a link for that, you can head to my Low Waste Homemaker. I don't get any kickback for it. I just really want you to try it. I wish that I could be an affiliate with them, but they don't have an affiliate program. Not yet, at least. So I get my meat shipped in bulk, and it's regenerative meat, and one of the cuts that I get is beef stew meat, and I've been making the best stew, you guys, for the past few months. And it's just carrots, potatoes, the stew. I put some wine in there. I put some bone broth in there, some onions, garlic. So easy, so simple. And you're smiling because you probably put the same exact thing in your pot roast. I'm literally dying. And then, so some seasonings. And I like to, if I'm really scraping, we'll just have that by itself. But if I'm trying to elevate it, I'll put it on some basmati rice, or I'll make some bread to go with it. Sourdough, rolls, biscuits, whatever. It's bomb. It's tried and true. And it's a frugal meal, because stew meat is like a cheap cut. It's a lower, you could say it's like low quality cut, but it's bomb, and it's juicy, especially if you put it in the crock pot all day. I put it in the morning.
So
let it cook all day. The other day that I made it, it did overcook the potatoes and end up being like mashed potato stew. But that was okay. We ate it. It tastes good. It's butter and potatoes. Like, what are you going to do? Okay, so basically copy and paste that, but put pot roast in there. And do you do anything different to yours?
No, not really. Usually, like, a lot of recipes call for chuck roast, but I feel like rump roast is usually more affordable and tastes just as good. And I love the fattier pieces of steak. Like, give me those fat pieces. It's so yummy. But I just season it really well. I usually, after I season it, I'll do like a little bit of flour packed on after I season it, and then I sear it, get it really nice and brown on all the sides, and then I'll chuck it into the chuck roast.
Oh yeah, I see what you did there.
That's embarrassing. I'll chuck it into the crock pot, and then broth. Get your carrots and potatoes in there, and switch it on, and then
That's hilarious, Marcella. I'm glad that we have the same energy. But yeah, usually, okay, for some reason, every time I make a pot roast or a stew, I always have like a half bottle of wine open in my fridge that's been in there for a while.
Wow.
And I just chuck it in there.
Throw it in there. Yeah.
And it adds to the flavor. And I put I'll make sure, I'm going to put my recipe on the Patreon. But yeah, a whole stick of butter goes in there. Can't go wrong. The more fat, the better, in my opinion. Speaking of fat, let's talk about dessert. I've been making raw eggnog, and it is changing my life. And I'll put the recipe. You can find the recipe on Low Waste Homemaker. You can also find it on the Patreon, because that's where I'm going to put it. But essentially what it is, it's milk, cream, egg yolks, spices, vanilla, maple syrup, bomb.com. I've been putting in our coffee. It's amazing. You are putting yourself at zero risk for salmonella. Okay, I promise you. If you have egg yolk, I promise you, people are so scared of raw eggs. I feel like, Marcella, how much raw egg have we consumed in our life with cookie dough? I just feel
wow. I remember we would get the Toll House cookie dough tubs from Costco and eat it out of the tub. Sometimes we would not have enough to make a batch of cookies because we just ended up eating the whole tub.
I cannot, obviously don't sue me if you get salmonella. But let me tell you this, okay?
I guess this is just that's an uncooked flour.
Yeah, my experience is I've gotten food poisoning from vegetables more than anything.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've never been sick from raw milk or raw egg yolks. You shouldn't eat raw egg whites a lot.
Yeah.
At your own discretion. But you are at the least amount of risk for egg yolks. But anyway, so good in eggnog. Love it. Absolutely love it. What did you make for dessert?
Okay, so at our, what was it for? I guess it was our pre-New Year's celebration that we had at Shannon's house. She was making spiked peppermint hot chocolate, and I wanted a good dessert to go with it. So I decided to make these biscotti, and most of us don't do super well with regular gluten. I try to make as much of my baked goods sourdough if I can help it. So Lisa Bass on Farmhouse on Boone, of course, again, Lisa comes through with the great recipes. She has this sourdough biscotti recipe that came out immaculate. It was, I can't even explain to you. The texture was right on. The taste was right. Literally everything. It was so good. And then I dipped them in chocolate. Wow. It was so yummy.
Wow.
She uses sourdough discard. But you have the option if you want to ferment them in the fridge over a certain period of time. You can. So you can kind of do it both ways. But she does, you can do either way. So yeah, I fermented the dough for a little while with my starter, and it was just wow, it was so yummy. That was a really good recipe. I'm for sure making those again. It's definitely a standout dessert recipe for me.
I'm gonna have to try that, and that means I need to get almond extract because I don't have that.
I know I rarely have. I have almond extract, and I rarely ever make things that use it, and
now you have something to use it for. Okay, the thing that stinks about my drink recommendation or my favorite is that I'm worried that by the time this podcast episode goes out, it's going
It'll
to
be
be off the
gone.
shelves. So this
I
is
know.
a seasonal drink from Trader Joe's, and it's the triple ginger brew. It is incredible, you guys.
It's really
So
good.
the main ingredients are lemon, lime, spices, ginger, obviously, pineapple juice, honey, and there's some cane sugar. It is amazing. It is the best ginger beer I've ever had in my life. It is so good. I've been making mocktails with it. I've been making cocktails with it. I've been just drinking it straight out of the bottle. It is so good. There was one day that I got it where I drank the whole bottle in one day, just periodically throughout the day. It is
Wow.
It is so good. And I'm just a sucker for ginger. It's so good for you. It's
Yeah,
anti-inflammatory. And it had just like amazing ingredients. Like, you know, the only thing that I wasn't super stoked about is how much cane sugar, but it was barely any. Most of the sweetness is coming from the juices and the honey. It is so bomb. What about you? Drinkity.
I'm pretty sure I say this like every other favorites episode that we do, but Jed's homemade coffee is still reign supreme as my favorite drinks. I think my tablet's about to die. It's
No.
at 5%. Okay, we have to hurry.
Literally
Okay.
run for your life.
Jed's homemade coffee, always the best. He just knows how to make it exactly how I like it. Okay, moving on.
Okay. Mother culture or homemaking project. So I had a flare up and I had a procedure done immediately after the flare up. I was in bed for 2 days, for 2 weeks, in bed and then on the couch. I did nothing else but call the midwife on Netflix and work on an embroidery project. I posted the embroidery project on Low Waist Homemaker. It's a mushroom house. It's so cute. Marcella gave me a pack of several embroidery kits as my winter gift, and it was amazing, and it's so cute, and my hands hurt super bad after I finished it because I was like speed embroidering. I was like rage embroidering. It was insane. Anyway, what about you?
Okay, I just recently got back into homemaking projects because my hands have been full with a newborn for the past few months up until
Word.
like just recently, like a month ago. Now I'm getting back into it. So I started this crochet beanie that I made for Jed. I've had the materials for it for over a year now. I was supposed to make it for him last Christmas, and I got so like wrapped up in my other projects that I totally forgot about it. So now he's getting it as a 2024. It will probably end up being a Valentine's Day gift beanie.
Nice.
But,
I can't wait to see when it finishes.
I'll try to send the pattern that I'm using. It's a really simple pattern, and you can the one that I am using, you can adapt it for newborn, for toddler, I think, and then for like an adult size. So she has like different patterns for different sizes that you want, which is really cool.
Awesome. I'll make sure to link the embroidery kit as well. Okay, last, random. I have been living with my heating blanket attached to me because my husband's going to kill me, but it's freezing in our house. And I swear that our heater is blowing out cold air. And it's like our constant like bickering about, it's fake bickering. We're not actually bickering about, like, I'll always say like, babe, it's blowing out cold air. Ha ha. And he's like, you're crazy. Ha ha ha. So yeah, especially in the morning when it's super cold, I'm living under my heating blanket, and you and I have the same exact heating blanket. So I don't know who got it first, you, me, or mom, because we all have the same one.
Mom did for sure.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm going to link it. It's amazing. I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it was mom, me, and then you got it last.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's
worth
good.
every penny. It's a little on the pricey side. It is, I'm telling you.
It's so lovely.
Ask for it as a gift for whatever. Make up a reason to ask for it as a gift. It is so soft and so good. Love it. Okay. That's also your favorite.
That is also my random, which is that heating blanket. And then my extra one is this humidifier that I just bought, which is like, it has been a workhorse. I have been like running this thing into the ground. It's this 5-liter humidifier. It's pretty massive. Like, it's going to take up a bit of counter space, but I've been keeping it in the boys' room because Seth suffers from, like, sinus stuff, like, seasonal allergies, and, like, whenever he gets sick, it just, like, makes it 10 times worse. So, of course, during cold and flu season, you would think that, like, oh, well, you're, like, you live kind of in the South, it's, like, humid all the time. Yeah, kind of, but the problem is when you have central air,
It dries it out.
and you're running the heater because it's so cold, it's drying out all the air in the house. And then what Shannon, our unofficial third person in the podcast, was telling me is that when you don't have humidity in the home, the humidity is like weight in your home. It's holding down all of the particles, all the pollen, mold, dust. It's holding all that down. So when you take out the humidity, the stuff is kind of like free flying around, and you're more likely to suffer from those things that are like floating around because there's no weight holding it down anymore. It's very interesting. And she's like looked way into this because of like, she's really into like looking into like recovering from mold and like all these different things. And so she was explaining that to me, and I was like, wow, I think we need like a huge humidifier. I have like a little one, but it is just not cutting it. It just wasn't cutting it anymore.
We need that link for sure. I need that link.
So the one that I got, it's really nice. It like has a huge tank. You can run it for like, I don't even know how long, like 16, 18 hours or something in one sitting without having to refill it.
That's awesome.
And you're able to just do regular water, or you can also put essential oils in it if you want to do like aromatherapy sort of a situation. So that's been helping a lot. Like within a couple of days, noticed a difference with Seth's breathing, with his like being able to breathe through his nose. He wasn't sounding quite as congested. He wasn't like, I was waking up with sore throats. He was waking up with sore throats because the air is just so dry. And plus we were like recovering from illness and like all these different things. And so I noticed a difference for sure when we're not using it. So yeah, I will send that link too. I am literally at 2%.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for joining us today for our winter favorites, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.